I was gonna say that the rain was over, but now it's picking up. And this is gonna be a short video. And there's a migraine happening here today, this afternoon, this evening. And pollen, and humidity, and everything that happens in the summer when the body hits the heat. And so no promises of what words will come up and make sense or not make sense. And the physicality of the brain and the head right now is it's multi-dimensional in more than 3 dimensions, which I used to have an obsession when I was studying quant in another lifetime of how to visualize like more than 3 dimensions, how to experience and embody, because when you get into calculus and you get into all the beyond spookiness of dimension, it's just really fun to expand the limits of actual perception, to realize when the perception reaches its limits that how could I possibly conceptualize more than 3 dimensions. But right now, with the migraine and the sense of heightened sound perception, visual perception, somatic aura perception, the dizziness when movement happens and how things track very differently, the world around me and also my movement through and in the world. It's funny, I used to think that having these symptoms, these kind of symptoms coming up were a problem. But really dropping in, it's such an immersion. Like there's nothing else. I'm surprised I'm able to actually talk right now. I mean, I'm not doing it, it's just happening. And it passes, it unfolds, it changes. There's an awareness that this is nothing to push away or cling to. It's just this. And even the act of like the eyes closing, with all of the heightened sensory experience, is stunning. It's dramatic. It's you might think I was on hallucinogenics or entheogens right now, but this is unaltered. This is like what comes out when speaking through illness and symptomology is for me, for this experience, when there's actual space to be authentic, which if I were sitting with someone next to me right now with an expectation of convention or conversation, this wouldn't be happening. It feels really good to close the eyes. And there's kind of like just this super vague shadow of what might have been talked about or might have wanted to be talked about if a headache weren't here. But it's like more ephemeral than like a children's book right now in the corner of the room tucked away in the bookshelf. It's just like, this is just alive. And it's funny because there's a phrase that's been coming up here that I can kind of sense it creeping up in the shadows. It's been a recurring theme, and it's not accessible right now. So maybe it'll resurface. But how sacred this is, for lack of a better word. And I say that because it's so ordinary, having a migraine, having a headache, when it's spoken of conventionally. But it's so clear, so unarguable how this is no less sacred than any other spiritual experience or memory or teaching or state. In the rain, with the trees, with the green, with the light coming through. The sun is maybe close to setting. Like, how is any of that different from the storm passing through this body? And like, this body's response is an extension of the storm. Like, the fluid in this body and this cerebral spinal fluid contained here, and pressure and the scarring and the plates that shift, that aren't just one solid thing. Like, we are the water that is storming down on us. And And I would keep my eyes open, but they really just want to be closed.